Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for March Comes In Like a Lion, chapter 186. When we last left our heroes, Harunobu continued sort of just thinking about Rei and how Rei has changed over the years and his newfound relationship with Hina, and how he Harunobu's kind of walking back the sort of progress he was making earlier of like accepting that Rei's sort of better off now, and is kind of not necessarily condemning Rei, but is considering him a weaker shogi player for, just these, I guess, the warm, fuzzy feelings. It's sort of it's kind of mean-spirited. I don't know. Like I'm looking over those last few pages, and it's a continued frustration with sort of Rei latching on to that earlier Harunobu game from earlier in the tournament, but like he's just kind of tired of all of this. I think it's kind of, I'm trying to justify this in my head still, like a month later. I think it's sort of frustration over the gameplay style that he's taking out on every single change going on in Rei's life. Maybe, I don't know. Either way, let's just jump right on in. We continue to have the running gang on our cover. Noidome and the other guy whose name I don't know if we ever learned. Shopping, a small shortcut. Bargains, plentiful and packed full. It's just sort of there. It's fine. And Harunobu's like walking back to the shogi room. A fist fight of pure brute strength. Or an aerial battle where you forget to breathe. Those types of battles get the blood seething, but personally, I really am more drawn to the sort of dignified, depthful shogi, where one builds deliberate, heavy defensive structures. So we're seeing, again, kind of, it's sort of the same concept as last chapter's final image of, Harunobu's big, well-built battleship, and Rei is the tiny little Jack Russell Terrier. Though this time instead of a battleship, it's like a Lego house. But it's the same basic concept. In general conventional methods, engage the enemy, while surprise secures victory. Your move certainly may be considered surprise. However, if we both constructed plenty of conventional methods against each other, and then you built a surprise attack on top of that, that would be pretty chilling. But if you do nothing but fire off crackling fireworks into the air from afar, right from the start, then it would stop any advancing armies before they can even get near. This quotation, so the earlier quote, that first quote, in general conventional methods engage the enemy while surprise secures victory, is a quote from Sun Tzu's The Art of War, specifically the Michael Nyland translation according to our translator notes. And then Harunobu is building on all of that for his shogi strategy. Surprise attacks are scary for the one launching them. The moment you launch them, you've seized the initiative. But if your attack runs out, then at that point, a terrifying collapse begins. So we're seeing Harunobu's kind of arguing, yes, sometimes you need that element of surprise, but also it has to be built on a firm bedrock. That he's arguing, I think, that Rei doesn't really have anymore. I generally don't think Kiriyama would poke his nose in with that kind of shallow level of thinking. But right now, he has a slight tendency to transform into a Jack Russell Terrier, so I can't say for sure. I like the image. He's transforming into a Jack Russell Terrier. It's kind of a funny bit, playing on Umino's love of imagery like that. So if, on top of that unsureness, he starts zooming around this way and that, then my formation would start to come loose. Okay, so what he's worried about is, if he goes for a surprise attack and Kiriyama does something completely unexpected, like bouncing around or whatever, that could be the end of him, of Harunobu. Kiriyama, I know you've got your own things you want to do. But before that, I'm going to do the sort of conventional strategy I want to do. And we're seeing Nikaido sort of trying to stake his claim on the flow of the match. We see some moves read out: 7-4 Fu, 3-6 Fu, 5-3 Gin, and Harunobu looks up at Rei. Okay, so how are you responding here, Kiriyama? And we see Kiriyama with this like image of the Jack Russell Terrier clutching a tennis ball, and there's all these tennis balls behind him. 3-7K. And Harunobu's sort of stunned. Oh, Oh, God! How Jack Russell can you get? We're reminded that Harunobu just loves dogs. He's sort of like, not even frustrated here. He just finds Ray kind of cute. We have a bit of a info blurb about Jack Russell Terriers. Originating in England, a breed of dog that's full of energy and double S rank athletic ability. Their only fault is their tendency to get easily excited. An inexhaustible supply of stamina. Basically impossible to be satisfied with a walk where it's kept on a short leash. We have like that was originally just a tiny little off in the corner with like an asterisk little blurb. Now we're getting a full page about the Jack Russell Terrier. Like a reincarnation of a wild boar. It needs an owner who's able to do a 100-meter dash in under 11 seconds. My grandmother's English friend has a huge amount of love. Has a Jack Russell Terrier in their household named Godiva, gift of God. I've heard she has such excessive stamina, you basically only see her in focus when she's eating. She's nearly a phantom dog. That's how high energy their bodies are. And we see the English friend's grandson in like a tracksuit, exhausted, holding her leash. She's gotten away from her leash. Grandson taking her on a walk. He's in the track club. But Harunobu continues on with his metaphor. Kiriyama, if you're going to dig up the land, the board, again and again like that, you're going to create little unwanted hills. Are you looking for a mole or something? And we have this image of Kiriyama as a Jack Kiriyama Russell is what he's listed as. Like, just digging up the shogi board. Wait. No, hold on. He's piling up the soil higher and higher and... Huh? You're kidding me. He's on the verge of creating a pillbox castle? So we're seeing that actually Harunobu's realizing Ray had some kind of strategy here amidst all of the Jack Russell Terrier energy. Of just like some kind of defensive move, I guess. I get it. So that's why you put up that wall, Gene. It was leading here, huh? But like, what's with the order here? It's super messed up. Just how novel are you trying to be? Damn it. And before you really fortify against me, 6'4" Gene. He makes some play. And Ray counters 6'5" Fu. And Harunobu thinks, ha. So you're plunging in now, are you? I expected no less from you, Kiriyama. You caught on to the fact that I noticed what you were doing, huh? That was fast. Fast, but that shape you've got going there is getting pretty scary too, isn't it? To be continued. Okay. So, this was far from my favorite chapter of the arc. I've said in the past, I come here for, like, character depth, character analysis, stuff like that, and the actual, minutiae of the shogi playing is never something I've ever been terribly, super into. I also feel like Umino also isn't super into the minutiae of the shogi playing. It's hard to work out what exactly is going on here just from hearing a few piece movements. It's hard to quite tell the actual, tete-a-tete, back-and-forth gameplay sort of thing. You get a little bit of, strategy here. But that's really all we're kind of getting here. There's a bit more discussion on Kiriyama's mental state going back to that Jack Russell Terrier metaphor. But also we kind of see that maybe Kiriyama's been playing Harunobu for a fool this whole time. He's not just randomly doing stuff. He's got this very defensive strategy going. And Harunobu is it's time for him to he's got to make a move or else he's going to sort of just lose it all. And maybe it's too late. It's kind of hard to tell. That last line, Kiriyama's realized that Harunobu's worked out where he's going with this. And so he starts to make a counterattack. But Harunobu acts like the shape you got going there is getting pretty scary too, isn't it? That last line. Maybe he's going to, Ray might overextend himself or something and end up losing the match. I'm not sure, because again, I know next to nothing about shogi, and that's not really why I'm here. I don't know. It's a perfectly fine chapter, getting back into the sort of meat and potatoes of the fight, of the match, I mean. And there still is, some Harunobu trying to work out what's going on with Ray in an emotional sense. But, comparing this to last chapter where he's sort of digging into what's been going on in Ray's life outside of shogi, here he's just sort of looking at Ray's shogi style today. which, you know, we can see by the shared imagery of the Jack Russell Terrier that there is a connection there, clearly. It's just, in my opinion, not quite as engaging. It's fine enough, you know, but it is just sort of, you know, continuing the match a couple of moves, and, you know, they're sort of acknowledging each other's strategies a little bit, though again, we're only really seeing this from Harunobu's standpoint. But yeah, I don't know, there's that last bit. Like, Harunobu, there's something to be said. I've talked about this a few times before, I think, in the way Umino sets up, like, words, if that makes sense. You know, all throughout, this whole chapter is, like, cluttered with dialogue, right? There's just so many sentences and you know, it's like walls of text the whole time. And then, you know, in past chapters, I think it might have been earlier in this match, we've seen, you know, Harunobu's thoughts going a mile a minute, and then Umino really sets in, everything slows down, with like a whole page with like one sentence on it, sort of thing. And for some reason, my gut's telling me that last panel is doing something kind of similar. Maybe it's the fact that that last line has no thought bubble attached to it. But it's also like not as clearly slowed down as those earlier panels, as the earlier pages in the earlier chapters. And maybe that's just part of the fact that, like, she only had a certain amount of pages this chapter, maybe? I don't know. But it does feel like a kind of calmer moment. Maybe it's the fact that we cut to that sort of exterior shot for the last panel. I don't know. I don't really know how this match is going to turn out. I could, from a storytelling standpoint, see it going either way. Depending on how Umino wants to sort of end Rei's character arc. I don't know. There are multiple, like, I could see Harunobu winning if, in the end, Umino is saying shogi is deeply harmful to Rei on an emotional standpoint, and what he really needs to do is get the hell out of there. Which, I mentioned this last video, rewatching the first season over the summer, I was like, that kind of is what it sort of feels like. But I haven't really felt that way about the later chapters of the manga, so maybe, you know, maybe I'm off base there. But if it is what she's going for, having Rei lose here, especially as Harunobu's been saying, all of these benefits to your personal emotional life have kind of resulted in less shogi skill. That could lead to the point, yeah, but it's better to have a healthy emotional life than to be a good shogi player. And, you know, maybe that is where Umino is going with this, and if so, I think Rei is going to lose. Maybe not. Maybe she's going to continue to have Rei, you know, have that, show that Rei's healthier emotional state is actually improving his game, and therefore he faces Harunobu and then Shimada and goes up the tournament all the way up to finally having one final rematch with Soya Meijin or something. I don't know. But yeah, lots of different ways this match can go. And I feel like we're no closer to a definitive answer as to who's going to win this match as we were at the end of last chapter. But still, we are making some kind of progress, and I'm still excited to see how all this plays out. I don't actually have any idea when the next chapter is coming. The Humananoboru website, as far as I could tell, made no comment as to if March was off in the next issue. There's no mention of it being of when it's going to come back and to be continued for this issue. I don't know, but I'll be here when it is here, and I can't wait to see how this match starts to shape up. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!